Hey, I have a quick question for you. Do you feel like you've been doing everything right for months, but when you look at your accounts, you don't see much difference? Like you're running on a treadmill and the scenery isn't changing? If your answer is yes, this video is exactly for you. Because what I'm going to show you today completely changes how you see your situation. There are 5 signs that show you're truly building wealth, even if the number in your account doesn't reflect it yet. And most people ignore them because no one ever explained them to them. Stay tuned until the end, because in the last point, there's a calculation that left me speechless the first time I saw it. Look, we live in a world that shows you the result, but never the process. On social media, you see people with their first apartment, the car they always wanted, vacations that look like something out of a movie. And here you are, being responsible, paying your bills on time, saving a little each month, and thinking, when will it be my turn? The problem is that building real wealth doesn't have a wow moment at the beginning. There's no notification that pops up saying, "Congratulations, you're now financially stable." It's quiet, it's boring, it flies under the radar, and that causes a lot of people to give up just when they were about to see results. So today, I'm going to give you 5 concrete signs, things that are happening in your life right now, and that, if you recognize them, mean only one thing: you're on the right track. Let's start with number 1. Sign number 1, you spend less than you earn. And the important part of this sentence is not the first part, it's the second part: without suffering. Because there are many people who spend less than they earn because they have no other choice. They make it to the end of the month barely scraping by, anxious, counting every penny. That's not what I'm describing. I'm talking about you who have found a point where your lifestyle costs less than what you earn, not because you live like a monk, but because you've been adjusting without realizing it. Do you know how rare that is? Most people in developed countries spend as much or more than they earn. Debts, credit cards, loans, everything is designed to make you spend a little more than you have. If you've broken that dynamic, you're already in a small group. Why it matters? Because that difference between what comes in and what goes out is what rich people call margin, and margin is fuel. Without margin, you can't invest. Without margin, you can't take advantage of opportunities. Without margin, any unexpected event can ruin your month. With margin, no matter how small, you have options, and options are power. So if today you spend $1,800 and earn $2,000, those $200 aren't small change. They're the beginning of everything. Sign number 2, and I think this one is especially important: the key distinction. Before we dive in, I want you to understand something that very few people explain well. Not all debt is created equal. There are debts that make you richer: a mortgage on an asset that appreciates in value, a loan to start a business that generates more than it costs. And there are debts that make you poorer: the car loan that loses value from day one, the credit card with 20% interest, the personal loan for that vacation that ended 2 years ago. The sign. Sign number 2 is this: your bad debts are going down every month. It doesn't matter if they go down by $50 or $500. What matters is the direction. Because every dollar you pay off in bad debt is a dollar that stops charging you interest. Forever. And that, over time, is worth much more than that dollar. The mistake most people make: many people pay off their debts and then, without realizing it, rack them up again the following month. A new whim, new financing. It's a cycle. If you're paying off debt and not generating new bad debt, you're building wealth even if you don't see it in your account balance. Think of it this way: with each passing month, your financial burden is a little lighter. Each month, you have a little more breathing room. Each month, you are a little freer. Sign number 3. This is my favorite, and I bet you haven't heard it explained this way before. The concept: there are 2 types of people in the financial world: those who work to earn money and those who have money working for them. The vast majority are in the first group, and not because they're less intelligent or less hardworking, but because no one explained to them how to move into the second group. Sign number 3 is that you already have something, no matter how small, in the second group: an investment fund with $500, a savings plan that generates returns, Stocks worth $300 that you bought 6 months ago and haven't sold yet. The amount doesn't matter. What matters is that it exists. When you have money invested, two things happen at the same time. First, that money generates returns. Not much at first, yes, but it is generating returns. Second, and this is what people underestimate, you are learning to think like an investor. You start to see money differently. It's no longer just something that comes in and goes out, it's something that can grow. And when the time comes that you have more to invest, you already know how. You're no longer afraid. You've already seen that it works. The person who starts with $300 and learns the process over 5 years is infinitely more powerful than the person who waits to have $10,000 to start. Let's move on to point 4. This has to do with something that few people associate with wealth, but those who already have it understand perfectly well. The problem with a single source. Imagine you have a bucket full of water, and that bucket has a single tap that fills it. If that tap fails, the bucket empties. That's what happens to most people with their income. One job, one client, one source. And when that source fails, a layoff, a company closing, a drop in sales, everything collapses. Sign number 4 is that you have or are building more than one source of income. Please note, I'm not saying you need to have 3 businesses and 5 sources of passive income. That's what they sell in certain late-night courses. I'm talking about much simpler things. You have your main job and you also have something invested that generates a return. That's already 2 sources. You have your main job and you also do some occasional projects that give you a little extra. That's already 2 sources. You have your main job and you have an emergency fund that gives you time if something goes wrong. That's not a source of income, but it's a cushion that gives you the freedom to make better decisions. People who depend on a single source of income make worse financial decisions because they are afraid, because they cannot afford to say no, because any problem becomes a crisis. People with multiple sources, even if they are small, have more leeway, more peace of mind, and more options. And more options mean more power to choose well. And we come to sign number 5. This is the most important of all, and also the one that takes the longest to see. The change in mindset. This sign has nothing to do with your bank account. It has to do with your head. And it is, in many ways, the most powerful of the 5. Most people think about money in short cycles. Next month, next weekend, next paycheck. That's normal. It's how the brain works when there's scarcity or when no one has taught you to think differently. But people who build real wealth think in terms of years, decades. What will happen with their decisions today in 10 or 20 years? And that changes everything. How it shows up in everyday life. You don't buy something because it's only $50 a month. Instead, you first think, how much is this going to cost me in 3 years? When the market drops and your investments lose value, you don't panic because you know that time is on your side. When you make career decisions, you don't just look at this month's salary. You look at how much that experience or company can contribute to you in the coming years. When you save, you don't do it to have something, but because you clearly see what for. Why this sign is so rare? We live in an age of immediacy. Social media, entertainment, apps, everything is designed to make you want results right now. Being able to think long-term in this environment is literally a huge competitive advantage. If you already have this mindset, you've already done the hardest part. The rest is technique, and technique can be learned. Remember how I promised you a calculation that left me speechless? Here it is. Imagine 2 people. They both earn the same amount. They both have the same expenses. The first has the 5 signs I just explained to you. The second has none. After 5 years, the first person has 0 bad debt, a growing investment fund, a solid emergency cushion, in a mind that already thinks long-term. The second person remains the same. Same salary, same debts, same cycle. The difference between the two is not in their income, it's in the signs. And most importantly, these signs don't cost money. They cost attention, decisions, and time. Quick review. Sign 1, you spend less than you earn without suffering. Sign 2, your bad debts are going down every month. Sign 3, you have money working for you, even if it's not much. Sign 4, you don't depend on a single source of income. Sign 5, you think in terms of years, not just months. If you have 3 or more of these signs, you are building wealth, even if your balance sheet doesn't show it yet. If you have 1 or 2, you know exactly what to work on. And if you don't have any, you've just discovered the map. Now it's up to you to start walking. If this video opened your eyes, give it a like. That helps me reach more people who need to hear this.
Tell me in the comments, how many of these signs do you have right now? Write down the number. I'm dying of curiosity.
And if you want to know exactly what to do with those signs to speed up the process, I have a video just about that. It's right up here. Don't put it off until tomorrow. See you in the next video.